What up, tutors? Matt and Roy back once again. Sorry about almost being late. I was in the middle of watching a fantastic elevator video by Mr. Matt and Mr. Che. If you guys don't ever watch their videos, he hasn't put up too many recently, but I really love his content, especially when he finds these old derelict elevators and tries to get them working again. Definitely check out his channel. Well, as you guys can tell, I am most definitely back home in my room, and Mr. Baxter right there is very happy. There we go. It's a weird angle. Actually, both the cats are in here right now. Baxter's there, and Milo's laying right near the door. They're a little upset with me because I will not let them out. Not right now, anyway. Let's see who's here. Well, thank you, Eric, for answering that question. For a 250 gig new old stock Western Digital drive, yeah, I'd say $13.65 is not a bad price. I probably wouldn't look for one quite that small, but depending on what your needs are, it might meet them. I-386 asked, did I bring the cold back south? Well, let's find out. I'll let you guys be the judge. And Ruben says hello to Baxter. Thank you. I'm sure he appreciates that. Hey, Baxty. Ruben says hello to you. Good boy. Current weather conditions. I'd say it's pretty cool here. Tonight it's going to be a low of 29. Tomorrow might get up to 57. And then by Saturday we might see 63. Definitely not as cold as it is up north, that's for sure. That's not too bad. I can handle 30 degrees, I-386. Yeah, be a little bit nicer if it was warmer to walk, but yeah, that's not too bad. And no rain until possibly Saturday, but that's just in the afternoon. So Thursday and Friday, Mom and I should be able to get a nice long walk in. I've never seen Baxter do that before, not just sit there and be content. Aren't you a happy boy, Bax? Yeah. They're a little upset with me because I won't let them out right now. Oh my goodness. If you see, I'm burning a candle in the background there. That's one of those Glade candles I picked up on clearance at Target. Man, that smells so good in here. My room being over the garage, when I'm gone for any length of time, it gets really stale smelling in here, and all those nasty vapors from the gasoline, the oil, what have you, that's stored in the garage tend to waft up into my room, and it's just a very altogether unpleasant aroma. They're really fighting to get out right now. Ruben asked, did you go to Maryland yesterday? We actually went there on Monday, and then we stayed till this morning. We visited some good old friends. We went up to Columbia, Maryland. They live in Olney, but we went to Columbia to visit the Wegmans. They have a 2-floor Wegmans there with a cart lift. And if you look at my older videos, you guys will be able to see that. I filmed that pretty extensively the last time we were there. And it was interesting. We ate at the Wegmans cafeteria. We had their pizza. Now, generally, I do like Wegmans pizza, but unfortunately, it wasn't that good this time. I think whoever was cooking them really didn't know what they were doing. The crust was very hard, and the cheese was very mealy. Like, the crust was overcooked, but the cheese wasn't cooked enough. So either they didn't know what they were doing, or maybe they were having a problem with their pizza ovens. But suffice to say, was not an enjoyable meal. Chet Boulet says, glad to see you made it home safely. Sorry it took me a while to get to this live session. Quick question. Which pate style food do your cats like the most? I'm hoping they like pate like my cat. Yes, they do. As a matter of fact, they prefer it. I usually get them the Friskies or the 9 Lives, and the ones they tend to like are the Super Supper, ocean whitefish and tuna, the salmon pate meal, and the turkey with giblets. Now, if they do like any of the bits, I usually get them the chicken, and those are like the little bits. It's not like the real big pieces, just like the real small bits, and those are the ones that my cats seem to like the most. Hey! Hey, knock it off. They're fighting, really fighting. Oh, yeah, Stephen Barber, work update. That projector that almost went boom is dead. Also found out when they used them on the other network, so that's all done. Also, contacting Lenovo support to restore media for all on one. Those projectors can be really, really dangerous. I had one a long time ago that worked for about the first 10 minutes, and then I started getting that burning smell. Then all of a sudden, I heard a boom, and the bulb burst. Luckily, I did not have it apart at the time, so everything was shielded. That did some major damage when I took it apart. The bulb had exploded. It had basically put shards of glass throughout the whole thing, so I just threw that projector out. Luckily, it was an old one. Reviews for noobs. Traded a $15 action camera, got off eBay for a nice PC, Q6600, 160 gig hard drive, 80 gig, 40 gig hard drive, 4 gigabytes of RAM, and a nice HD 9750. Wow, that is a nice system, especially with that card. Very nice. I mean, I tell you, you can get some really good trades out there. I'm actively looking to trade one of my computers maybe for a motorbike or a dirt bike. I don't know, something I can have fun with. Probably not a motorcycle, though. I'm a little too klutzy to go on a motorcycle. Robert Jones, Matt, is there a PT Cruiser update? No, I've actually done nothing to the PT Cruiser. Dad moved it from the grass into the driveway, but nothing's been done with that yet. I was hoping he'd maybe do a few things that need to be done while I was gone, but he didn't. So hopefully in the next week or so, I'll have another update for you. Basically, all we need to do at this point is put the rear door panel back on, and then it needs to be registered and insured, which I'll take care of this week. And then I got to send it over to my buddy Travis at Dillinger's. And they got to do the inspection and a few other things, and it should be good. It seems like it's taking a lot longer than it should be. You got to remember something. I am on a fixed income. I don't have unlimited resource. If I had unlimited resources, that thing would have already been on the road. But with my finances the way it is, everything is a process. So it's like one step at a time. I-36, hey, Matt, have you seen the new, excuse me, knock it off. Knock it off. Sorry about that. Have you seen the new HP Omen desktops? I'm not sure about the quality, but the wiring looks good. I'm skeptical of any modern pre-built system, to be honest with you. They're really getting questionable with their build quality. The main reason is price. Ever since they started Black Friday, in the early 2000s, around 2002, 2003, the quality of computer, especially pre-built computers, has gone down because everybody expects to get them for a cheaper price. And they think, oh, wow, the prices just go down because technology has moved forward and things have gotten cheaper. That's true to a point, but you also got to remember that what's gotten cheaper for the most part are the components they're putting into these systems. Power supplies, motherboards, even the memory. They're going with this Kingston Value RAM now, which was never good RAM to begin with. So just be careful. Do your homework before you go and buy any new modern pre-built. Chet Boulay says, thanks, Mal. I'll be trying those recipes and brands soon. Thank you. Just got a new cat, and he is on the older side and is very picky. You know what? I commend you for adopting an older cat, because so many people out there refuse to do that. They want the cute kitten that they can play with, that they can cuddle, they can watch grow up. But you got to remember, there are these older cats that a lot of times what happens is they end up in the shelters, 7, 8, 9+ year old cats, because a lot of times their owners are elderly and pass away, and they have no place to go. I've always loved to adopt older cats. Now, I've done it a few times. We adopted a 6-year-old cat, Tommy, once. I think our other cat was like 4 or 5 when we adopted him. But if you have a chance and you're looking for a really friendly cat that's going to be a good companion, an older cat is a very good option. Eric Brunhammer says you should check out the videos from Gamers Nexus and Bitwit about the new Walmart branded gaming computers. Oh boy, I'm sure that won't be anything good. I've never got a good PC from Walmart ever. I actually, every computer I bought from Walmart I've sent back except for the old compact Presario SR. I think it was the 1012NX. It was one of those little custom systems that were like gray faceplate with a black back on it. I got that for Black Friday, really cheap. There was a whole story about it, which I won't get into here, but that one I got home, and the only thing I had to do was reload Windows because, you know, the factory install, when they do these bulk installations usually via a network, they never install right. That system was okay, but I bought laptops there, netbooks there. Every time they would blue screen on me, and it wasn't for a software reason. Usually it was because there was a problem somewhere in the hardware. Either the hard drive was bad, there was an issue in the motherboard. Just stay away from Walmart computers. They're not worth your money or your time. George Blakely said, Milo and Baxter are only being banned on purpose to get your attention so you can let them out. Cats are smart. Yes, they are. And these two are extremely smart. I figured I'd have them in here. They might want to come up and say hi to you guys in a minute. Milo. Come on, Milo. Come on, buddy. You going to come say hi? Come on, baby. You want that? Come on, pumpkin. Yeah. Oh, Milo's going to come say hi to you guys. Yeah. Come on, look at the camera. Look at the camera. Look at the camera. There he is. There's Milo. Good kid. Good boy, Milo. Good boy. Good boy. Isn't he a sweetie? He's still kind of fidgety, though. We're still trying to get the kitten out of him. Good kitty. You're so friendly. Yep, Ruben says hi to you. Stephen Barber says hi to you. See, everybody likes you, Milo. No? You ready to get down? You ready to get down? Look how tall he is, guys. Look at this. Look how tall this cat got. I mean, that's a big cat. He is a big boy now. Yes, you are. I386 says, I found out my HP from 2010. The motherboard is made by Asus, but it does not have the Asus name. It has the name Pegatron. I heard Asus made them. I don't believe that's true. At least I've never heard that. Pegatron, they had so many problems with those motherboards in the HP desktops from that era. Specifically, the SATA ports would fail. And I can tell you a story. I went to my local Goodwill and I bought 3 quad core. They were the Phenom quad core X4s back in the day. And they all had the Pegatron motherboards. I thought I was getting a great deal. I wound up paying $20 a piece for them. And this was probably around 2013. So they were only about 3 years old at the time. And wouldn't you know, every single one of those had bad SATA ports. And at the end of the day, I had to scrap them for parts. And really the only good parts in there, I think they had some memory and they had optical drives and one had a video card. So if you see one of those HP systems that has a Pegatron motherboard, run away from it like the plague because they all have problems. I'm not sure what's going on. I know that if you remove a message, it's supposed to remove it immediately, but as you guys know with YouTube, sometimes things don't happen the way they're supposed to, so just be extra careful what you type. That's the best thing I could tell you to do. Foxconn boards were good. I've never had any issues with Foxconn boards. I know some people have. The Dell Inspiron 530s, 531s, the S's, like all of those era systems, they all use Foxconn motherboards, and I've never seen one go bad. Never. Excuse me, I got to let these cats out. You guys ready to go out? Going out? Bye-bye. All right, tubers. They're out. They were just being too destructive, so they had to go bye-bye. Let's see. Whose comments am I missing here? Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. I haven't eaten in a while. We did go to Olive Garden today, and I know, right? I got to stop eating out. But you know what? I don't think I've actually gained any weight. We'll talk more about that in a minute. And I got the ravioli di portobello. It's the ravioli with the mushroom stuffed inside, and it's like a butter cream sauce on top. So good. One of my absolute favorites. And I'll tell you, I asked the lady there, I said, I want the dinner portion, not the lunch. And she was like, oh, no, there's only one size. I'm like, oh, okay. So she brings it out, the plate out, and I noticed that the plate is a little bit bigger than I remember for the lunch. I'm like, you know what? I swear they used to have a dinner portion. So I think nothing else of it. I eat my meal, and then we were having a great time. And then at the end, I used that little Zeus kiosk to pay the bill. So I click on pay the bill, and I notice instead of it ringing up $10.79, which is what the lunch menu said, it rung up $13.79. I'm like, that seems odd. So the waitress came over and I said, can I ask you something? Because you told me that there was one size. And it says $13.79, and the lunch portion is supposed to be $10.79. She's like, that's odd. Let me go check on it. So she walks away for a few minutes. We start talking again. And she comes back and she says, nope, you know what? You were actually right. I didn't know that there was a dinner portion that's $13.79 and a lunch portion, which was $10.79. And I figured, you know what? She'll probably just give it to me for the lunch price. It was an honest mistake. No, you know what? The manager told her to give it to me for free. I actually got my meal at Olive Garden for free because they made a mistake. And I was so thankful. Now, if that ever happens to you, be grateful, but also make sure you still leave a tip. And I actually left her a pretty good tip. I think we left her about 25% because at the end of the day, I have a hunch that she's probably going to get a ribbing from her manager for making that mistake. And I wanted to at least make sure she had a bright day when it came when where the tip was concerned. But I thought you guys would just find that interesting. I kind of laughed when that happened. I probably should have known, but honestly, I don't order the dinner portion of that. It's always the lunch. So I was kind of in the dark the same way she was. Chet Boulay says, "Hey man, I'll try to make this my last question of the night, but you can ask me as many as you want. But what got you initially interested in the Alvin the Chipmunks franchise? I'm a big fan of Scooby Doo myself." Okay, this goes back to when I was a kid, and we're talking when I was probably 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. Back then, we had no idea I had this Asperger's syndrome. People with this syndrome tend to fixate on specific things that kind of make them happy. And I remember, I believe it was from a mutual friend of ours that was getting rid of some videotapes. I remember that they gave me a videotape of Alvin the Chipmunks, Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves, which is kind of like a parody of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. And I remember bringing that home and watching it on my Panasonic top loader VCR, if you guys are old enough to remember that. And I must have watched that about 15, 20 times in that first week. And I absolutely loved it. I was hooked. Ever since that, we went, I think the next week we went to our local department store, which was called Jamesway. Not They're defunct now, but I remember going into their electronics section and looking at their videotapes, and they didn't have a huge selection, but sure enough, they had another Alvin the Chipmunks videotape, and I think that one was Batmonk. This was at the time when the Chipmunks were doing their Chipmunks Back to the Movies or At the Movies, where they were parodying popular films at the time, like Batman, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. And I think another one was Dick Tracy. They called it Chip Tracy. It wasn't until years later that I actually saw that one. But I digress. Ever since then, I've been hooked. And that's one of the only cartoons that I really like, with the exception of King of the Hill and Family Guy once in a while. But I'm not hooked. I could take that or leave it. Whereas anytime they put out a new Alvin and the Chipmunks episode, I have to watch it. Those meddling kids. Yeah, yeah, I remember that. Oh, we got Mark Covington here. Hey, Mark, nice to see you again. Welcome back. How was y'all's trip to New York and back from there? Uneventful, and that's the way that I like it. Hopefully, we won't run into any issues the next time we go up either. Hey, you know what? Very distinct possibility. It might be with the PT Cruiser. We'll have to see if I can get that on the road. I'm missing some of your questions here. I'm sorry. Okay, the chat window's gone. Oh, there we go. We're back. I-386 I think I had a little autism when I was little. I would be so fascinated by windshield wipers. This is when I was 5 or 6. I would go around moving my fingers, pretending to be wipers. Yeah, you probably did. That's kind of part of it. You'd get fixated on things. I remember when I was really young, and I don't tell a lot of people this anymore, but when I would get excited, I would go like this for no reason whatsoever other than I was excited, and that was kind of the way I would express my excitement. And my mannerisms can be a little bit weird even today, but that all has to do with the Asperger's. People are different, and there's nothing wrong with being different. That's what makes the world interesting. That's what makes me be able to do what I'm able to do, and you be able to do what you're able to do. Unfortunately, there are people out there that will tell you that your differences are not okay. They need to conform to what society says is the norm. You don't. As long as you're not hurting anybody and you're happy with what you're doing, go ahead and do it. There's nothing wrong with it. Stephen Barber says, people say I don't have autism, but my G-mom thinks I do. Well, I can't comment anymore on that. I hope you don't. Ruben said he has it too. See, a lot of people have it, and it's a spectrum disorder, and there are very varying degrees of autism. There are people that are full-blown autistic that can't talk, that can't really function that well. And then there are the higher forms of autism, like the Asperger's, which is actually, believe it or not, I should have did it like this, being this is full-blown autism, and then this is Asperger's. Most people with Asperger's are very high functioning, but we have these episodes of like anxiety and sometimes depression, but that just has to go with the autism itself. George Blakely remembers Chip Tracy. Oddly enough, that was one of the ones that they did not put out on videotape, at least not in the US, and they didn't run in syndication. This was kind of strange. The original 80s version of Alvin the Chipmunks, called Alvin and the Chipmunks, ran from 1983 to 1991. It ran, I think it was on CBS, one of the major networks. But what happened was once the original run was done, they ran it in syndication years later in the 90s, like late 90s, early 2000s on Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon. But what wound up happening was they couldn't secure the rights from Bagdasarian Productions for the entire run. They wound up getting the episodes from 1983 up to 1988. But the episodes from, I think, the later 1988 up into 91, which was like 2 or 3 seasons, they couldn't get the rights for. So an interesting fact is, at least here in the United States, those episodes were never shown past their initial run on whatever it was, CBS or ABC. Now, you can find them out there. They were shown in other countries, and I've noticed that people started that recorded them back in the day started uploading them to the internet. One that I was very happy to see a few months ago was the return of the Chipmunks' mother, Vinny. There was one they did in 1985. It was the mother and child reunion. That was, of course, part of the syndication deal. But later on in 1989, I believe, there was another one where she actually came to visit them at their house, and that one I never got to see because it wasn't in the syndication deal. Chick-fil-A said, thanks for sharing, Matt. I myself have been diagnosed with ADHD, and my nephew has been diagnosed with Asperger's. I find myself extremely drawn to certain nostalgic things and childhood interests. That is definitely part of it. The key thing is you don't want to delve too far into that because you tend to miss out on the good things in life. And that was kind of a rough balance for me because, I have a lot of things I really enjoy here. And yes, there are times and days where I'd rather just sit in my room, play by myself and, not venture out. But I kind of force myself to get out there because I know it's good for me. And that's really what you have to do. You have to get out of your comfort zone. I-386, I have anxiety also. I cannot handle a lot of stress. When it gets crazy at work, I am ready to leave. I do the cleanup, and when they call me a lot, I get stressed out, even though it's simple. I feel your pain. I really do, because I've been in that situation at work. I've had jobs to where I know I was qualified and I could do the work, but the anxiety just wound up getting to me, and I would have a breakdown and I just couldn't return. And this is something that's very, very hard for me to talk about because I don't like feeling, I hate that feeling of being a failure. And that's kind of the way it feels sometimes when you're in my situation. You can't handle a normal 9 to 5 job. And you can explain this to people so you're blue in the face. If they haven't lived through that anxiety, they'll never know what you've been through. And I've been through a lot of jobs. Some worked out better than others. But I've kind of come to the realization that I don't think a normal 9 to 5 job is going to be possible in my future, not with the issues that I have. But that just goes back to what I was talking about, being different. There's nothing wrong with being different. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a computer tech freelance. I have my YouTube channel. I do repairs. I do some consulting work, and that fills my day and keeps food in my mouth. I've taken my disability, taken that negative and turned it into a positive. And you guys can do that too. There's no reason you can't. If I can do it, anybody can do it. And that goes with the weight loss too. And that's something I do want to address. Now, I have not been on the scale since we got back. I'll probably wait a few days. But judging by the way my clothes are fitting me, I have not gained any weight. I don't know if I've lost. I don't think so, but I know I haven't gained any weight. And believe me, I was bad. I was eating pie every day. I didn't have double portions, though. I still kept to the portions, and I still did my intermittent fasting. So stopped eating after 4 p.m., didn't eat until the next day, usually 8 or 9 in the morning. But I was eating junkier food. I did eat a lot of sweet potato pie. We had a lot of pumpkin pie, some cheesecake and stuff, which is okay as long as you do it in moderation. Everything in moderation is generally good for you. And it took me a long time to come to that realization, believe it or not. Eric Brunhammer says, I get overwhelmed at work from time to time because I am one of the few who is qualified, but I also tend to perform well under stress, even if it looks like I'm going to snap. Eric, I wish I was like you because I don't. I am the opposite end of the spectrum. Any kind of stress, I just can't handle it. And even when things are going good, sometimes I feel stressful. It's like your mind it's called self-talk. Your mind continues to go. You think about these things that are bad. You tell yourself, oh no, this is bad. I didn't get this done today. What are you doing? You're putting this off. You're procrastinating. That's kind of what goes on in your mind when you kind of stress yourself out. The idea is you just got to try to stop doing it. You just think about the good things. Think about what's positive in your life. Chipole says, Matt, you're a strong individual, and thank you for being strong enough to share. You mean a lot to a lot of people. Thank you for being a positive role model. Thank you. I try to. I don't mean to be boastful, and I try not to be. What I say here is to help you. It's beneficial both ways. It helps you as much as it helps me. At least that's the way I hope you guys perceive this. I-386 at Robert Jones. I'm learning disabled also. I did not make it in the tech school for computers. I'm not good at math, but I do know computers very good. I built my own system. Again, you got to play to your own strengths. You take your disability and you turn it into a positive. There was one I think I missed here. Hang on. Somebody asked me about the air fryer a minute ago. Oh, Ruben said, Matt, did you use the brand new air fryer? Not yet, because we just got back into town. Probably be a few days. Matter of fact, I have it sitting on the floor next to the cat litter downstairs. I don't have any place to put it at the moment. But yeah, I think what I'm going to probably do is my pork chops. And I know I put that recipe up there, but it was really good. I do these air fryer pork chops. Basically, all I do is I get egg wash where I put Worcestershire sauce, pepper, celery salt, onion powder, garlic powder, and a little bit of fresh minced garlic, and I mix that in the egg wash. And then I put some breadcrumbs in another bowl, and I take the fresh pork chops, dip them in the egg wash, dip them in the breadcrumbs, and put them right in the air fryer. And I fry them for about 30 minutes at 400 degrees. Breathtakingly delicious. That wasn't the right word. Absolutely delicious pork chops. Some of the best I've ever had. Now, when you do them in the air fryer, you don't necessarily need to use oil. You can take like a cap full of olive oil and you put it under the basket. But if you don't want to use any oil at all, you can use something like chicken broth, beef broth, or even vegetable broth. Just something that'll circulate in there and keep it really moist. I-386 wants more turkey and dressing. So do I. We only got pretty much the one meal because my aunt bought a 20-pound stuffed turkey, not realizing that it was 20 pounds, including the weight of the stuffing. And the stuffing, this thing was stuffed. I'm talking about this bird was stuffed all the way through. So there had to be about 10 pounds of stuffing in there. So really, we only got about a 10-pound turkey, and that was just enough for the one meal and a couple of sandwiches, and that was about it. So I feel your pain, I-386. I'm craving some turkey myself. Eric Brunhammer says, I will see a line of people and just think, oh, good Lord. And after a rush, I tend to need to step away and regroup. I feel the same way. I'm just glad you're able to handle the stress better than I am. I never could handle it that well. Paul Kane is here. Popped in to give 2 thumbs up. Thank you so much. See, what do we got? 19 watchers and 10 likes. That's awesome. I realized I didn't give you guys a whole lot of heads up on this one. I'll try to do that more in the future. I-386 asks, are you going back to green for Christmas? Highly doubtful. It's just too iffy for the weather. Plus, I don't have the money to keep traveling back and forth. I would love to do that. And I do apologize for not doing more videos up there. Most of you guys know already my uncle's internet was down the whole time, for one. And for two, the Village Variety, which I was really hoping would have a lot of stuff I was interested in, didn't really have much at all other than the K-Cups that I picked up and a few cans of natural peanut butter. That was pretty much all we bought there. We did buy a package of ravioli di portobello, basically the same thing I had at Olive Garden today, the ravioli mushroom ravioli, but we didn't get a chance to eat it. We actually left it in there. So, hey, be a treat for the next time we go up, right? Nick Roberts says, best Christmas movie I like, Bad Santa and Jingle All the Way. I like Jingle All the Way. I was never a big Bad Santa fan, mainly because I'm just not a big Billy Bob Thornton fan. But Jingle All the Way was great. I finally got to see It's a Wonderful Life when I was up at my uncle's house, and I tell you, that was a great movie. Wonderful. You'll bawl your eyes out. If you haven't seen it, you really will. One to me, in my opinion, one of James Stewart's best performances. Hard Gun just finished building a new system yesterday. Ryzen 7 2700, 16 gigs of RAM, 3000, blazing fast. Nice. Excuse me. I would love to build a Ryzen system. Probably going to be my next build, to be honest with you. I386 says, I think green, and you did spell it right with the E at the end. Thank you for that. Would be nice, but I am a southern person. If I had the opportunity, I would try living there. You have to like the cold. It is cold for a very long time there. Basically from the end of October till end of April. So if you don't like the cold that much, stick to the south. Black Friday deals, Hired Gun says, yeah, you guys saw all the ones that I did. I put up that video. That's everything I got for Black Friday. Sonic Wang, I bought a 60 gig SSD for $18, free shipping. Not a bad deal at all. 60 US dollars. Hey, can't beat that price. It's not a huge SSD, but it's large enough to handle Windows 10. And the rest of the stuff you can put on the conventional drives. Robert Jones said, I spent a lot of time fixing broken model kits that I have. I used to do that when I was younger, before I got into the electronics and the computers. I386, I have to come home in Georgia and come south for the winter. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to handle it. It's just too cold. I like the cold, absolutely. Paul Kane, best Christmas movie, A Christmas Story or National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation? That's a hard one. I have to say Christmas Vacation, just by a slim margin, though. I love Die Hard, and it's a Christmas movie, but just not enough about Christmas for it to be the tops for me. Yeah, me too. On the Die Hard trilogy, honestly, I have to say Die Hard 2 is my favorite. The one where they were in Dulles Airport. Again, a Christmas movie because it happened during Christmas time. The third one happened at Christmas time? No, I don't think so. Die Hard with a Vengeance wasn't, but the first two were. But Tubers, we're going to end this in a couple of minutes because I'm getting very tired. We had a long day today, and I still have some things I have to do. But let's see if there are any more comments, questions, queries. I want to let you guys know that the super chats have really ramped up, and I really want to appreciate that. Anything you're willing to donate to the channel is greatly appreciated, and will go to improving the content for sure. Yes, I did. I did hit 6,000 subs, and I want to thank you guys once again. I know that has a lot to do with the recent people here. Hopefully some of you guys that haven't clicked that subscribe button will remember to do that. Please help me out. That really helps me out if you're subscribed. Yes, I am still selling computers. It's been a little slow right now because of Black Friday, but once December hits, fully expect to sell out of everything I have. That is it for this live stream. Please continue to like and subscribe. Have a good night's sleep. And as always, have a blessed day, everybody.